Rise and shine, YouTube. Yes, it's late, but we got the Akitsu review coming to you. This guy right here. This bad boy right here. The final mouse killer. This guy. Yes, it really is. Today, I'm going to talk about the final mouse shape versus the Akitsu. I'm going to talk about the bottom base. These are the Obsidian airs right here on the mouse. Feel fantastic. I'm using it on the glaze. Performance feels great. So without further ado, let's do what I do. Alrighty, so the Akitsu from FineMax and Vancer. Yes, Arbiter sells them, but they really didn't do anything with the design of the mouse. Vancer Anchor is the guy that actually created the shape with FineMax. And I'm going to tell you right off the rip, this is the final mouse killer right here. I did purchase a 3D model of the ULX Cheetah for this review and the ULX line to kind of give you the in-hand feel of somebody who has 16 by 9 hands. So, without further ado, let's talk about it. ULX Cheetah, for me, in my opinions, it's a little smaller than what I want for a mouse. I'm not a fingertip user, right? I'm not a pure fingertip gamer. I just don't find it to be as stable as I want. So the ULX Cheetah is going to be a little more narrow. It's going to be shorter in length and in height from the Akitsu. So I find this just to be just a little too small for my liking because I just don't fingertip mice. I don't really see too many people claw gripping this. I mean, you could if you have small hands, but it's just not the best shape for it. It's just not the best size for it. When it comes to the ULX Lion, the Lion is actually going to be slightly longer. So the back of the mouse is going to be coming back into the palm of your hand a little more if you have anywhere between 16 and 17 long or centimeter long hands, right? And it just fills the hand more. And I just kind of want a little more mobility for the in-hand, kind of bringing it back into the palm. You can get a good fingertip on here, but it's not, once again, not my favorite kind of shape just because I feel like it's just a little too long for my liking. But this is where the Akitsu comes into play. The Akitsu is the perfect medium between the ULX Cheetah and the ULX Lion. Now, what I mean by that is it's ever so slightly longer, taller, and wider than the ULX Cheetah, and it's going to be ever so slightly less. It's going to be shorter, it's going to be a touch more narrow, and a touch shorter than the medium or the Lion. That's where my hand size comes into play perfect with this mouse, is because I could get a good claw shape and it feels good in hand. I could fingertip this mouse comfortably, and then, fingertip for those flicks, getting into a nice, good claw grip for that tracking. And if I ever wanted to, I could get into a good palm grip because, I mean, my hands are just damn small. So, this mouse being in the middle between a cheetah and a lion, I just find this to be the final mouse killer shape because it meets it perfectly in the middle, and it's more comfortable, it's more natural in my hand. It feels great overall. When it comes down to the clicks are nice and crisp, right? You can really feel and tell when you click. I don't like the mushy clicks. I don't like the silent kind of subdued clicks like the OP1 aka the Purple Frost. Those are a little more subdued. I know you can change the clicks, but I'm not spending money on extra switches to swap out. I'm just not doing that. So these being a little more crispy, a little louder, I can really fine tune or feel when I'm clicking, when I'm using a semi-auto weapon, a sniper. I can really feel when I'm going to click, when I hear the click, everything like that. They're not too stiff. I have no issues with double clicking. On the bottom, I have no issues with grinding or anything like that. Post travel, it doesn't exist. Post travel or pre travel doesn't exist. Post travel, there's a slight post travel, but it doesn't bother me at all in game. I don't even really feel any of that. No click grinding, nothing. If you get a little more intense with your clicks during your tracking, none of that even exists on the mouse. Now, the side buttons aren't as crisp as the main buttons. They're a little more mushy, but they're nothing compared to the GPX. They're super light mice, the decks, right? These are a much better side click. And, well, I can tell you with the revised edition, the second batch, they've made the side buttons a little more crispier, the main click's a little more crispier. And, well, the scroll wheel on the first one is not my favorite because it's definitely stiffer than most. It's that accredited Vancer kind of scroll wheel where it's just too stiff in my opinion. But second batch, it's less stiff. It's gonna feel better based on just the description of the changes they made. So if you're in the market for an Akitsu, this would be the perfect time to pick one up because the second batch has revised a lot of what the first batch did wrong. So we went over the shape, we went over the clicks, the scroll wheel, everything like that. When it comes down to the coating, I mean, it's a carbon fiber mouse. The coating, I mean, it's carbon fiber. It actually feels very good where there's nothing coming into play with moisture, sweat, doesn't get slippery, doesn't get sticky. I even used the grips just to add a touch more width to the mouse. So once this kind of zooms in a little bit, there we go. So the grips add just kind of a good aesthetic, but it adds just slightly more grip without it being too thick. So you can really see here how just thin these grips are. They form to the mouse really well. They're not sticky. You can take them off. Doesn't leave a residue. I've taken them off and reapplied them multiple times. Same thing with the right side. Not as thick as normal like grips. Feels great. Cool little dragonfly design that is very subtle and you don't actually feel it in hand while you're playing. It feels smooth. Just the grips I feel like gives that extra oomph to the mouse. I love it. There is one part of the mouse that I didn't like, but it's only going to really play into effect when you have thin skates on the mouse or if you're using, I mean, honestly, thinner skates and like an extra soft pad, you might feel a little weirdness on it because as you can tell here, the dragonfly design and where the middle sensor is, it's actually raised compared to the rest of the mouse. So if you have thin skates, that sensor is going to actually scratch your pad. I've felt that with the silver skates that came applied already on the Akitsu, on the glaze. I felt it with extra soft pads. I felt it with softer, extra soft, and even glass because I have a heavy hand. So the thin skates, they get a little thinner. They press down a little bit. If you have a heavy hand, you're going to feel a little bit of scratchiness with that sensor. But, so I swapped to the Obsidian Airs, and these are a much thicker skate than the silver skates it came with. I don't know if they're actually silver foxes from the Unusual Esports or Unusual Way Sports. My bad on that one. Just the silver skates didn't do it for me. After changing, I can put pressure down on this guy. You don't feel the sensor at all, but it's just a kind of a heads up if you do like those skates. If you are heavy-handed, you're probably going to feel a little feedback from the sensor scratching the surface. Other than that, this mouse has been fantastic to use. The performance, I've had no issues with skipping, no issues with like floaty sensor, no issues with any stuttering in games, stuttering on the desktop with this, even at 8K. Now, when it comes to the 8K, it actually saturates pretty well. It actually saturates pretty quick. I've used the Ryse kind of polling rate tester on the PC. It gets up there very quick. You don't have to go insane with the circles. I'm on 1600 DPI. Mouse feels fantastic. Feels great in game. Grip styles, right? Now I know Boardsy points out a lot the thumb being in line with the sensor. I've had that same feeling with mice ever since I started using them. I've always liked having my thumb in line with the sensor. I even liked having my pinky in line with the sensor. So if I were to grip this guy, the pinky is a little higher, but the thumb is right in line. Comparing it to something like the main guy on the channel that's been the main for the longest time, the pinky and the thumb are directly in line. This is why this guy's the main. It just feels the best out of all the mice that I've used, and it's just a super comfortable mouse. Thumb still fits in line. The pinky is just slightly taller or slightly higher, but it doesn't really affect how it feels. It still feels one-to-one. The sensor feels great. It's comfortable. It's good. Shape's great. In my opinion, it's the final mouse killer, because I would never spend any money on a final mouse ever again based on using this guy right here. Carbon fiber, QC, there's no creaking, there's no popping, there's no flexing, there's no click grinds. You couldn't ask for a better mouse than this if you're somebody who really likes that final mouse shape. Now, for me, yes, while I do love it, I still perform the best on this guy right here. It's just, I don't know, whatever, this mouse just fits my hand perfectly. Fingers are in line with the sensor. It's just, I don't know, it just fits my grip, my game style, my play style, all in all. But this is definitely going to be close second when it comes to performance, shape, feel, comfortability, everything like that. And definitely the best final mouse shape. Final mouse killer 2024, the Akitsu right here. If you want to pick one up, they're on sale. They're not on sale, but they are available at Arbiter for about $149.99. You can't ask for a better price than that. Instead of paying $200 for a mouse that it's probably gonna creak, flex, scroll wheels probably gonna be shit. Final meme at its best at $200. You got the Akitsu here, $149. Great price, great performer, best final mouse shape I've ever felt. Just go get it. Just go get it. This isn't sponsored. This isn't paid. While I did get this mouse for review, I'm still going to be just truthful and honest with you guys. An amazing final mouse shape for small hands and shape in general for small hands. You just got to try it out for yourself. But that's all she wrote. See you guys for the next one. We got some stuff coming in. We got a lot of mice to test out still. So we'll see you for the next review. Love you guys. Rise up. God bless. And that's all she wrote. Yeah.